Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Spector, Solution Engineer at Cloudflare for Eastern and Central Europe and Israel. And today we're going to have a really interesting discussion about how Bolt scaled globally with Cloudflare Zero Trust SASE architecture.
Hello, everyone. I'm Guido Kõiv, head of SRE in Bolt.
And just before we begin, one question, how many of you actually familiar with Bolt, ever used any of Bolt services?
Great, looks good. So yeah, I'm here to talk about who we are and what we do as a company. So we're a relatively young cloud-native company, established 2013 in Estonia. And now we've expanded globally since then. We operate more than 45 countries in 500 cities. We have more than 100 million customers and more than 3,000 employees. Now, 11 years later, we offer 5 core services. The most mature, the oldest one is rides. Basically, it's a ride-hailing service. This is in more than 45 countries. Then we have rentals. This means that basically rentals is for renting scooters and bicycles. Bolt Food enables people to order food from different restaurants. And the newest one is Bolt Drive, that basically is a car renting service. Followed by Bolt Market. Basically, it's a delivery from different shops. All our services are available in the app, and our aim is to make it as simple and easy as possible for the customers. As you can see, the business is basically real time, so is the application, and time is the key there. And because of the business logic, we have to process everything real time and in a very short time with very low latency and high availability. And this means that we always focused on having a non-single point of failure architecture, and this has served us well.
So who are Cloudflare? So we are globally anycast distributed network. Our services runs in every data center that we own. So it's in complete difference with other cloud providers who usually runs regionally. We don't do it. And we can accelerate the traffic from our customers to our edge service in the fastest possible way. It makes us the fastest and the most well-connected Zero Trust global network. We have presence in more than 300 cities around the world, 30,000 interconnections with the biggest ISP providers, cloud providers, and huge enterprises around the world. In this position, we can basically see 20% of wide web traffic. And what kind of solutions we provide? So we started as a CDN, a DDoS mitigation solution, but since then, our vision never stopped. So we have an application security solution for performance, and for developers as well, and it goes on and on and on. So, Guido, let me ask you, how did you start the journey with the Cloudflare? What made you to do that step?
Yes, so we're always looking the way how we can improve our service and raise the bar, so to say, for our customers and employees. So it should be more reliable, more secure, more scalable, all those fancy words that are being used heavily nowadays. So, but what it means is that we basically have to review all the time what is our architecture and make decisions how to do that, improve it. So this is basically how we started with Cloudflare. So that we were looking for a solution that would assist us in meeting the best security measures and protect the edge services. So basically, we had to secure our application level, consumer-facing API on application level attacks, botnet attacks, and also DDoS attacks. So from the management point of view, we were looking the way how we can possibly manage these kind of solutions efficiently and in a unified manner so that we can maintain our DevOps procedures so that we have infrastructure as a code, and then we didn't want to give give up demanding this.
Sure.
So then we started basically our path, our journey, and then with experience with Cloudflare WAF, bot management, DDoS, you name it. Basically, it was above our expectations. So this means that our basic security, overall security, that was our main goal. We got this, but as a good surprise, and being a real-time application, we managed to reduce our latency basically 3 times.
Amazing.
That was an amazing result, and we didn't expect this, but it actually happened. So now, years later, as I'm here now, this DDoS protection, DDoS service actually helped us to mitigate one of the Estonian biggest, as far as I know. Maybe there is something bigger, but a DDoS attack against Bolt, so that it went to multiple billions of requests scale attack. So that, as far as I know, this is so far the biggest one, and they managed to do that really well, and that makes me very happy. So after sort of our success with these kind of Cloudflare services, edge services, we started to look around if we can extend. So what else we can do? And then internally we targeted this security perimeter, how we can improve and make it better.
Can you explain me what was the reason or challenge you have to take on yourself with this new, different project in such a short period of time, which was completely complex as well? What made you to do it?
Yeah, so back that time, we had this traditional VPN to access internal resources and services and networks. And because I mentioned more than 3,000 employees, at one point in time, I think it was even higher, the number. We had to manage thousands of certificates because it was certificate-based. And so this means that we have to manage them, issuing, revoking. You know, it was part of sort of like a configuration hell for internal services. So this is where we understood that basically we had to solve this problem. Also having an issue where there are like, if you upgrade your computer or do any software change, you actually don't know if it remains to work or not. So basically, we understood that we're facing totally different technical limitations, and the traditional VPN wasn't no longer scaling to our needs.
But you actually didn't just look for the new solution for that challenges you had. You actually had it was a new way of thinking. You perceived the whole corporate network security different. You were looking for different strategy, the zero trust strategy, right? To change the whole challenges you had.
Yeah, absolutely correct. So that was the issue, that we have a hybrid type of work. And this means that everyone can work remotely, globally remotely, and this is, we have to adopt to this. This is a new normal, that people work remotely. So employees, so this means that this extends the attack surface. And that was a problem, or actually we were very much worried about it. So employees have more exposure on different malicious activity. Mm-hmm. And this means that this can expose us to different data breaches or loss of corporate data. And then, like every company, we invest a lot of effort and time, and it's our priority to maintain the basically certification or to be compliant with the GDPR, ISO 27000, you name it. There are more and more coming all the time. So it was a problem, and then we understand that we need to adopt into this new reality, that there is no one network boundary. Remote working users, more visibility, and then we wanted to extend sort of the way how we can possibly improve our SaaS applications perimeter. So after some challenging considerations, what we had internally, we decided to adopt into this new paradigm, verify first, and this is how we started to change our mindset.
And can you tell me about the whole process of implementation? How did it work for you?
Yeah, so the process, how we usually do that is we start with POC. So we engage different vendors into our POC. Cloudflare was obviously one of them. So we've got the best results with Cloudflare. This is a solution based on SASE architecture.
And SASE, for someone who doesn't know, it's basically Security Access Service Edge. It's architectural implementation of a Zero Trust framework.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so our aim was to manage everything in a single place, so that something that we already know, also to continue with infrastructure as a code, so that we have visibility, transparency, so that developers or whoever wants to know what's going on, you don't have to go to web interface, but you actually can show the code and you can use your internal processes, how to govern this. And we basically, we wanted to have the scalability so that we can extend and we don't hit any limits for internal networks, internal apps, and for also the SaaS services perspective. Sure. This means that this infrastructure code is sort of something that I think it's sort of priority for us, because so far these kind of things hasn't been addressed properly, and all the edge management and firewall management and VPN management usually is not very compatible with these kind of approaches.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Guido. And now I'm just going to talk about, we're going to zoom out a little bit and look at the steps, but we worked with Bolt and the way like implementation of our solution of Zero Trust Journey. Basically, we call it Zero Trust Journey. There's the steps, and each step we want to achieve some kind of results. So we're achieving results. We did it with Bolt. We also do it with other customers. So basically, we start with deprecating, as Guido said, the old technology, VPN, and then adopting Zero Trust Network Access. And the achievement usually would be the prevention of remote access exploitation, for example. Then consolidate your identity provider with us, and that would prevent any authenticated access or authorization to your internal resources. Then you want to completely secure all of your application data and gather a really good traffic visibility, so it would prevent client website attacks, for example, data theft, security misconfigurations in your internal and SaaS applications. So just go really shortly from the steps. So the first step, as I said, deprecating VPN and adopting Zero Trust Network Access. Basically, how we do it. So from the side of your research, your service app, you want to basically share externally the open outbound communication to our Cloudflare network. That's it. And from your employee, your user who wants to access with his device to this resource, we open it out secure communication to Cloudflare. So basically, we manage both of them bidirectionally, only if we are our Cloudflare network system. And it's a complete difference that VPN will require, because VPN has to reside on your edge firewall, some kind of a gateway. It has to be open like inbound and outbound. Of course, it's more susceptible to exploitations, to zero-day attacks, and so on. So it's completely more secure. Then the next step, we want to consolidate your authorization authentication system, basically identity providers where you're already using your organization, your SSO. You can continue using them, it just integrated with us. So in a way, we became identity over proxy. It doesn't matter what you use. For example, Bolt use Okta, someone might use Entra ID or whatever. It's a seamless integration. We both support SAML or off integration. And in the end, we become like the one who, at the top, we will actually give the token and for access and authorization to the internal resource. But that's not all. Before the access will be given, we will also look at your device posture from compliance point of view and from security point of view. We can gather information, either use our lightweight agent, would look different signals to get compliant with your internal policy, or we can integrate with different EDR providers, security endpoint solutions. For example, have a great partnership with CrowdStrike. In the case of Bolt, they also use CrowdStrike, so it was really easy integration. So in the end, only compliant identity will get access to a resource that Bolt or you would like to share externally. But that's not enough, right? We want to see how your employees using how they browse the internet. So we have security work better, but we look at the habits of browsing, what kind of websites they go, what they do, and we immediately can detect, using our data, what we have, the malicious domains, block malicious IPs. We could build categories of websites that your employees are allowed to use or disallowed to use. For example, if in an organization like Bolt, they don't want their employees to use adult content websites, this category can be blocked, or casino websites, it also can completely block. But that's not all. We also have to look at what's happening in your internal apps, SaaS applications. So Cloudflare provides API-driven CASB, which would look at misconfigurations on unstructured data, and also look at the shadow IT. For example, if someone using like ChatGPT and AI is already susceptible to malicious attacks as well, we don't want your maybe employees to use that, so we, of course, detect it and block it. So in a way, we're building security posture management of your SaaS application. On top of these two solutions, we also have DLP that will look at the sensitive data in REST and also in transit and block if some kind of sensitive data someone's trying to exfiltrate it from your corporate network. That's actually the steps we already done with Bolt, and what looking to do forward with them is implementing another mechanism that's important for zero trust strategy. So one of them is actually remote browser isolation. And what does it solve? Why is it so important? Because many of client-side web apps can be completely eliminated by using this mechanism. It basically means, for example, one of your employees, you basically running session in a Chrome web browser, just browsing some websites, but we can configure the policy. What some of these websites, what we think they can be potentially malicious, can be run completely isolated and Cloudflare network edge. It doesn't run locally, it runs on our network isolated. That means it completely eliminate any issues, internal issues, because it's right isolated on the Cloudflare network. And it's in completely seamless way to the end user and with no latency as well. So it's a great solution. We already start working on that with Bolt. And the next interesting feature, it's basically digital experience monitoring. So what happens? A lot of Bolt employees, for example, work remotely and globally. They have huge global, many employees go globally. So they, and in each change, I would say, and for example, new implementation of security measures, or even with zero trust, we want to see what's happening with how the employees or the end device users react to that. What's happening with them? Maybe they have some kind of latency, some kind of bottlenecks. We want to detect it immediately in real time. So with this system, because it can look, how employee connects to our data centers, what maybe they have some latency problems or some issues with the internal apps that they're running or new security configurations, and you can immediately detect it and fix it basically in real time. But if sometimes, like for example, if they don't have this feature and some employees starting to have problems where they work remotely, they just will try to do something on their own, and this way they also can maybe not intentionally, but do some synchronization of security measures, and we don't want that. And of course, another great feature, which we're also going to work with Bolt, it's basically risk posture management, but could be managed dynamically. So the problem with usually with risk security posture management, that many of the solutions look at a huge set of data, but it's really hard to detect in this set of data the real time and actually the real malicious activity. So we're using a risk score model and user identity behavior analytics. But on top of that, we also use machine learning and AI in order basically to detect real-time telemetry of some kind of abnormal behavior. So for example, if we see one of the users or employees who's trying to access our data center in Netherlands and at the same time in UK, it's something abnormal, right? Maybe his account is compromised. So we look at the actual context in real time of all of this data. And in this way, of course, you can, in Bolt, we're able to prevent compromising accounts in real time, malicious activity, lateral movement inside the network. So in the end, it will build even more unified and scalable IT environment, security risk posture management for Bolt. And we also can integrate for all this data that we're looking on. It's not only Cloudflare data, it's also data from different XDR providers or EDR solutions and SIEM solutions as well. So we gather all the data and then work with the AI machine learning model on top of that. So last question for you, Guido. How do you see your future further developments between Bolt and Cloudflare?
That's a good question. This is what we ask also ourselves all the time, what we want to achieve. And I think it's related to being more future-proof. So how we can improve in the future and not limit ourselves. So we see all this and the project as a next step forward, building the connectivity cloud, so to say. So this means that we have a holistic view how we adopt different Cloudflare technologies that are not just based on our current need, but future needs and then future specifications that we don't know yet, but we just keep this sort of like door open, and this is why this holistic view is something what we are looking for in a high level.
So thank you very much. It was a pleasure presenting here. We're going to be in our booth of Cloudflare. You can come and ask us more questions about this project and maybe to show you a demo. And thank you, Guido, as well. Thank you again.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.